Sunshine was the long-awaited sequel to the Twilight Zone episode called Midnight Sun. It was in development hell for 46 years, and most of the actors had to be recast, with the exception of Captain Rod Sterling Pinbacker. As a quick refresher, in the first movie, world-renowned scientist Professor Roger Sterling Pinbacker discovers that the Earth has fallen out of orbit, and is heading straight into the sun, or as he likes to refer to it,
smack dab in the center of the Twilight Zone.
He calmly hands humanity a death sentence.
The people you've just seen have been handed a death sentence.
And tells them that they are
The word is
This is bad news for humanity, because everyone's artworks will melt from the heat. The plot of the first movie follows the lives of a gang of brave men and women that would go on to become astronauts and save the world. In the sequel, the original gang is back, on a mission to blow up the sun before the Earth goes from medium rare to well done. Kappa dropped the tough guy act from the first movie, and went for a more relatable character. Dr. Thomas Searle, an optometrist that was going to hide in Miami with his wife Cassie and his son Canada, decided instead to complete his optometrist thesis aboard Icarus II. His wife Cassie went with as emotional support, and his son Canada ended up being the captain. The sequel starts with the original gang about 3/4 of the journey to the sun, but just as they are about to reach it, the gang discovers the spaceship which was piloted by the one and only Captain Rod Sterling Pinbacker. He bravely volunteered for the first mission upon Icarus I, but he also got into Zen Buddhism.
For 7 years I spoke with God.
And forgot the original plan. He also took this time to get a tan, so he'll look cool when he returns to Earth. The gang decide to race him to the sun, because both ships are built the same, so it would truly be a measure of who is the better captain. Icarus II wins, but the captain thinks it would look cool to do a handbrake turn donut, so he pulls up the handbrake and the ship does a 360. Aside from looking cool, after the race Icarus II was now traveling faster than the speed of light, so the light from the sun was hitting the shield too fast to be absorbed, so the handbrake stop was so Icarus II would be moving just at the same speed it was being hit by the light. The captain thought he was safe because of this, but he forgot that the sun is also very hot, and he was about to turn into a real-life version of one of the paintings from the first movie. The optometrist uses this as an excuse to do an eye test, and asks the captain how many suns he sees. But from the lack of response, it was concluded that he failed the eye exam. Dr. Thomas Searle hangs back for a few minutes, so he can complete his optometrist thesis. To become a certified optometrist, you have to know what everything looks like. Dr. Thomas Searle still needed to know what the sun looks like at 100% brightness, and he got his wish. It was time for Thomas to leave. He had seen everything. It is not explicitly stated in the movie, but there was a lot of tension between Rod Pinbacker and Searle's characters, because Pinbacker had already stared into the sun, and he was just a random guy that tells people they are.
The word is.
Once they had convinced Pinbacker to get back on the mission, they had a whole other spaceship, and stood a much better chance of blowing up the sun, and returning life to normal. When they eventually reach the sun, everyone does a celebration dance, because the world is saved. After detaching the bomb from Icarus II, Captain Rod Sterling Pinbacker, Kappa, the optometrist, and Cassie return safely to Earth. Now that the sun has been blown up, the Earth can continue on its new orbit for hundreds of years until it reaches a new star, in which case we will just repeat the process. Pinbacker achieved his secondary goal of a really cool 10, but because the ending plays homage to the original movie, it was in black and white, so you can't actually see how his 7 years of hard work paid off. Before I end the video, here are some fun facts most people don't know. In the original draft of the sequel, Pinbacker was going to invent a time machine.
This week we move back into time, back to 1863.
And stop the sun from existing in the first place, but that idea was scrapped. There are also several deleted scenes, which show Kappa and Rod Serling Pinbacker talking, but that was also cut because Pinbacker was just parroting his own lines from the first movie.
You'll find him. in the sunshine.
Winds up of the Twilight Zone.
Nothing you can do will change that story.
They happen to be pitiful and panicky keys to survival.
And then we die.
And handed a death sentence.
Like and subscribe for more movie reviews, or comment below if there is something specific you'd like me to cover. Roses are red. This movie was fun.